Welcome once again to the review for the book, The Evolving Analyst. And right now we have Reg Cracknell with us. He is a senior BA. He's also president of IIBA Calgary. And Reg has written an article in The Evolving Analyst. And his article is entitled Lessons from a Dynamics 365 Field Service Misstep. It's in the requirements elicitation section of the book. And his article really focuses on elevating business analysis from mere operational tasks to outcome-driven thinking. And Reg emphasizes the importance of analytical reasoning and clear communication in enabling better decisions. So welcome, Reg.
Thank you so much, Marcus, for having me here and inviting me to be an author in the book.
Hey, well, you're very welcome. Let's start off with a quick question about your story and what was the biggest lesson that you learned the hard way from the story, or even from any BA project?
Let me tell you, the hardest lesson I've learned was that technical success does not equate to business success if shared understanding is absent. Early in my career, I assumed that implementing a system correctly on time, on budget, and to specification meant that work was done. I assumed that unspoken assumptions, poorly surfaced constraints, and misaligned expectations will surface later as operational pain points, rework, and of course, erosion of trust. The hard lesson was recognizing that clarity, alignment, and decision transparency are not soft skills. They are core deliverables of effective business analysis.
So it's not so much, so let me see. So you're sort of reinforcing that idea that strong analysis is not about producing just more artifacts, but about applying that judgment, asking the right questions, ensuring that the insights lead to meaningful, measurable business outcomes, that type of thing. How could, say, earlier analysis in your story have changed the outcome?
Earlier analysis could have been fundamentally changed outcomes by forcing the right conversations sooner and before design hardened and before downstream teams constrained by prior decisions. By investing in early problem framing, stakeholder alignment, data ownership clarity, and exception handling, many later system issues would have been exposed as process governance or policy gaps. Early analysis creates decision leverage, and it reduces costly pivots, prevents workaround culture, and ensures that enterprise platforms are configured to support how the business must operate, not just on how the software happens to work.
I like that. You know, it's interesting. I was having a conversation with someone else who had written a story in the book, and we were talking about AI and how AI has really helped and can help BAs do a lot of the things you've talked about upfront, so that they get that earlier analysis, right? At least they're forced to, the developers are forced to get it up front instead of waiting for it toward the end. Not all companies will do things that way, but for the companies that do, it certainly is a bonus for them. Great, awesome, thanks. Now, what advice would you give to BAs on enterprise platforms for good analysis or better analysis?
I love that question. My advice to BAs working on enterprise platforms is to think and act beyond transactions and screens analyze the system as a living ecosystem. Understand that the upstream or the downstream impacts master data dependencies, integration touch points, controls, and reporting implications before locking in the requirements. Being relentless about always asking, what happens next? And what happens when it goes wrong? Most importantly, position yourself as a steward of the outcomes, not just a translator of the requests or requirements. Enterprise platforms magnify both good and bad decisions, and your rigor at the front end decisions determines which one scales, good or bad.
Rigor at the beginning. I think that's a valuable takeaway for our listeners and for those who are reading a copy of the book. So thank you very much, Reg, for your time, and thank you for your contribution to the book. And thank you for giving us more insight into how to improve business analysis.
Great. Thank you for having me.
It's always a pleasure. Have a great day.